You are now in tune with
Mamba Radio.
Alright, what up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Brown Mamba Radio. For those out there who don't know, my name is Jackson, and happy Aloha Friday to all you guys out there. Happy Rusev Day to everyone out there, and hopefully you guys all enjoyed your week. We finally made it. The weekend is here. But a lot happened this week. A lot happened this week. Not just from the wild world of sports, but from our wild world in general. So, let's get started with the sports side of things, with the playoffs, most obviously. Starting in the East, man. Where to start in the East? The East. LeBronto is in full effect. It's pretty crazy how we all knew that even though the Raptors were the number one seed, they played really well all season long. They showed signs of improvement. Dwayne Casey was looking like a potential coach of the year candidate, all this stuff. That once we saw that Cleveland and Toronto's paths might cross, that this was probably going to happen. Despite how well that Cleveland was playing, that Toronto was playing. And I called it in my last couple podcasts. Other people have called it. It's not a new... like I said, it's not a new, wild, groundbreaking thought over here, but LeBron is just continuing to own the Raptors, man. And not even the Cavs, but just LeBron by himself per se. I think it's saying like LeBron-led teams are like 10-2 against the Raptors, and they've won like 8 games in a row. It's unbelievable. I'm gonna pull up his stats right now. I think where is it? It's like LeBron is just it's pretty insane. Okay, LeBron is averaging 35 points, 14 assists, and 10 rebounds, or to be exact, 34.5 points. Here, I'll round down so it's a little better. 34 points, 13 assists, and 9 rebounds. Either way, that is still look crazy, with 1 steal and 1 block, and averaging 43 minutes a game. Unreal. That means he's sitting for 5 minutes in the entire game. LeBron in year 15, I think they said, or 13, whatever it is, just blowing us all away. Blowing us all away with how incredible he's been playing this whole playoff series, especially so far in this one. They got the 2-0 lead, and they're going back to Cleveland. So, not saying that like I said, the Cleveland. Not saying that this series is over already, but it's starting to look that way. The Raptors should have. By all means, should have won Game 1. They came out hot. They had it going, and just blew it. Completely fell apart in the last half of last part of the fourth quarter, and they let LeBron and the Cavs get back in it. Came back, sent it to overtime, and LeBron and the Cavs just did their thing, man, and took them down in overtime. Game 2, on the other hand, Raptors didn't have a chance. That was all Cavs. All game long. The energy was completely sucked out of the building. The Raps fans knew it. The Raptors players knew it. Everyone knew it. That game was over. And LeBron just completely took over. You know what I mean? They could not stop his fadeaway. He was heat checks all night long. Unbelievable what LeBron's been doing. And not just LeBron. He's getting a little bit of help as well. Finally, he's, like I said, it's some help, not a lot of help, but he's getting it from the guys he needs it from the most, and Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, who have been, up and down all season long. Showed up, didn't really show up when they needed him to in the first round. we all know that they've been dealing with some stuff off the court, both Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. But they're like I said, they're not fully back like they were 2-3 years ago when they were at their peaks of their powers and stuff like that. But playing very well. Kevin Love averaging 19 points, 12 rebounds in the series. Still not shooting the three ball as well as we know he can. Only shooting 300 right now, or 30%, excuse me. But Tristan Thompson, I mean, like if you look at his numbers, they're not that great. He's only averaging 8 points and 7 rebounds, and literally nothing else. But good field goal percentage, 67%, and also, if you're just watching the game, he's like I said, he's not getting blocks or anything, but he's affecting the shots in the paint. He's moving body, setting good screens, all the stuff that he's supposed to be doing out there. And like I said, it's good to see. It's a good sign of things to come for the Cavs. Hopefully that they just needed to get a little fire under their ass or something like that before they could start to get going. But not so good for the Raptors. I mean, they really, really, really got to do some soul searching on this little break when they travel over to Cleveland, because their body language isn't good. It is not good at all, and it's reflecting into their play. After the game in the press conferences, they just sound completely dejected, and they look and they're just carrying themselves like they know that they don't have a chance. Just for my money, that's the way I'm playing it too. I don't think they have a chance. They're just, it's tough. It's tough, man. LeBron is tough. But yeah, it looks like we're heading for another sweep. As long as LeBron can stay healthy, keep doing what he's doing, and as long as he can get some more help from a supporting cast, like I said, we're looking at another sweep here. Moving on to the other side of the East, to the better series, in my opinion, the Sixers and the Celtics, and it is everything that we've wanted so far in this series. Both teams are going at it. These games are close, especially Game 2. And what's crazy is, even though the Celtics are up 2-0 right now, you still can't count the Sixers out. You still can't count them out. With the Celtics, they're up 2-0 for a reason. Their young guards still absolutely killing it for the Celtics right now. And that might be, in my opinion, probably the most impressive thing, is just how well that the young players are the young guards are playing for the Celtics, or some of the young guys. Tatum's playing well. Marcus Smart is D'ing everybody up really well. Jaylen Brown came back, was doing really, really well in Game 2. Looked really good. There was a lot of worry about his hamstring, but he was out there, throwing down dunks and alley-oops and going up for blocks and rebounds. So he's looking all right. But Scary Terry is the talk of the town right now. He is playing so well right now, out of his mind, just shooting the three, playing good defense, or good, as good a defense as he can play. And these guys, it's impressive. They're getting a lot of help from Al Horford as well. Al Horford is playing very well. He's just doing Al Horford stuff, man. All the little things. Just knows where to be in the right position, just knows the right spots to be in on offense and defense. Great footwork, as we all know. Good paint presence, both on offense and defense. Like I said, Al Horford just doing it all, man. Doing it all and doing it well. Just shout out to Brad Stevens, man. God damn, he is so good. He's such a good coach, man. He's got these boys ready. He's got them coached up, and he's got them playing super confident basketball right now. Because they're taking it to these Sixers right now. But as much as the Celtics are giving it, the Sixers, they're taking it, man. And they're arguably, they could have, and arguably should have won Game 1, or should have won both these games. Game 1, if they weren't missing all their threes, I believe they would have had a much, obviously, not rocket science, they would have had a much better chance of winning that game. But I just feel like, it's just because, like I said, they're not completely live by the three, die by the three, but, when they kind of shot themselves into a little bit of a hole, they had to take more threes and more contested, more bad shots and all that stuff. I get it. So that's why their stats were bad. I think I have it here. They were 5 for 26. That is not good. That is not good anywhere. Yeah, the Sixers, man, they looked all right. You know, I mean, Joel Embiid is getting his, man. He is showing out and showing he belongs. He is showing that he belongs in this series. Whereas he's averaging 25 points, 13 rebounds, you know, a block, a steal a game, and some assists. You know, he's just playing out of his mind. JJ Redick playing very well too. And they got it going in game 2. You know, they got it going in game 2. The 3-ball was going early. Again, Embiid was playing well. You know, and like I said, the 3-ball from all around from Redick, Covington, Belly, Saric, who again, I've said it before, but in my opinion, the most underrated part of this team is Dario Saric and how good he is. You know, he can come off the bench, he can start, but he's good. Dario Saric is good, but just game 2 just fell on Ben Simmons, man. He just straight up was a no-show, just straight up. There's no other way to put it. You know, I'm just gonna go. This is crazy. This is Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, the all-out lock for Rookie of the Year. 1 point, 5 turnovers, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. That is it. But just the 1 point. It's like, how do you only get 1 point? That's crazy. Crazy. For a guy like Ben Simmons only get 1 point. They found a way to shut him down, and they did. But like I said, I mean, you know, that just blows my mind, man. I just can't. It's almost like a thing. I didn't even really notice it when I was watching the game because the game was so close and the scoring came from everywhere else. You know, like I said, Embiid did his. Redick was doing his. He was hot from 3. What he made, he was 5 of 9 from 3. Covington making his threes. You know, Sarge making some threes. And like I said, and you know, Belly got some scoring going, but yeah, crazy Ben Simmons. And listen, I'm not a big plus minus guy, you know, like, and I completely, like, I get it. I understand it. But to me, it's just not the be all end all. But all I know is that Ben Simmons was a minus 23, and that is not good. You know what I mean? It doesn't take a genius to know that is excuse me, that is not a good thing. So yeah, like I said, and as like I said, all the stuff that I just said about the Sixers, you still can't count them out. You still cannot count them out. One, because we've seen what they can do. We know how well they can play when they're firing on cylinders, and so like, and it's scary. And 2, they're going back home. They're going back home to Philly. They can easily go back up. They can make it a 2-2 series just like that. They got the whole city on their back. You know what I mean? They got the whole city on their side. You know, everyone's as far as I'm concerned, everyone's healthy. So, like I said, they can get it going. And with these Sixers, man, this is the first time that these young boys, it's at least from what I can remember, it's the first time that they've had their backs up against the wall like this. And like I said, they're going home. They've shown that they can hang with the Celtics. They've shown that they can hang with the Celtics. And so, you know, let's see if you just gotta see how they respond. Like I said, this series has been great. And like I said, and the biggest thing for me for this series is that it's just the first of many to come. And I'm just happy to see it. I'm happy to see that they're already taking it seriously and they're already playing very well. And you know what I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. And that's the East. Moving across the way to the West. You know, quickly, the Pelicans. The Pelicans are putting up a good fight against the Warriors. That's the best thing I can say right now. They're just putting up a good fight. AD's playing well. You know, he's getting his. Let me see, I have it here. I think he's averaging. What's he averaging? He's in the series. He's playing his ass off right now. I mean, AD averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals, doing it all. good field goal percentage. He's doing his part. And you know what? Honestly, and so was his rest of the supporting cast. That was the big question coming into the series was or to the playoffs was, can AD get help from anyone else? And he did in round 1 against the Blazers, and he still is right now. I mean, if you look at the numbers, Drew Holiday still playing well. His field goal percentage is a little bit down, but I mean, still 17 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, still playing well. Rondo, also, he got 15 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. He's playing well. Even Etuan Moore, Mirotic doing well. These guys are still playing well. It's just the Warriors are good, man, and it looks like they just might be too good for the Pelicans to overcome. Warriors are up 2-0, as you can tell. KD's looking really good, playing very well. He's he's doing that's a given. He's doing his thing, leading scorer in the West right now. Clay's playing well, not playing as he's not like lighting it up like we know he can at this point, but he's playing very well. He's still playing well, but I think he can. He'll wake up in the next round a little bit more as soon as he can start to get a little whiff. He starts smelling the champagne and the pool parties and the celebration parties, out in Vegas. Once that gets closer and he can taste it and he can smell it, that's like I said. Watch China Clay come out. But the big story here, or two big stories: playoff Draymond is back. He's in full effect. Draymond took a lot of shit throughout the regular season. I'm not gonna lie. Saying his numbers fell off. Maybe he's not playing with the same kind of fire he played with before. Maybe he's getting a little complacent. What about this? A lot of that. Blah blah blah. But Blair said when it comes time to lacing up those shoes and getting out on the court, you don't gotta. When it matters most, shit, you don't gotta worry about Draymond, man. He is killing it right now, averaging a triple double. 18 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Great field goal percentage too, 60%. He's shooting from ball well from downtown as well, 43%. I mean, he's just all over the place right now. Playoff Draymond is killing it. And also, almost obviously, the other big news, Steph's back. He came back. He came off the bench in Game 2. He's doing his thing. He's going to be all right. And, as if the Warriors needed any more help, they got Steph. The series is going down in New Orleans. So the Pelicans might be able to squeak out a win. Not sure. It just depends on how many beignets or how much jambalaya the Warriors have before Game 5 or Game 4 or Game 3 or Game 4. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see. But it looks like Golden State's got this one in the bag. I was going to say that for the other series. It looked like it was going to be a one-sided affair up until the game last night. Jazz Rockets looks like it's going to be a slobber knocker. Looks like it might go 7 games. If it goes 7 games, I would not be surprised. Because Game 1 was just a straight-up, good old-fashioned butt-whooping. Rockets came out firing, completely killing it. They just, there was no stopping them. They were just completely going. The score was 110-96. Looks a little, but it wasn't that close. It really wasn't. Excuse me. Like I said, they just came out firing. But Game 2, completely different story. And it's not to say that the Rockets didn't come out flat. They came out flat. They weren't playing that well. They just didn't look like the normal Rockets, especially at home, coming off a game like the way that a game like they had in Game 1. Because if you look at the box score, it's like, damn, these guys, how did they lose? James Harden had his. He was 32. He had 32 points, 11 assists. Chris Paul had 23 points. And they got a big game from Clint Capella, 21 points and 11 rebounds. But then you're looking at how did they lose? It's final, and then his final score itself being 116 and 108. Now, when you see something like that, you're thinking, damn, how many they won like that? How many points did Donovan Mitchell had? Donovan Mitchell only had 17 points, and he probably had arguably his worst game overall of the entire playoff series. He 17 points, but he was only on 28% from the field, 28% from the field, 25% from three. Just not good. It was kind of just like, what is going on here? But the Jazz, despite Donovan Mitchell's poor shooting, poor scoring, or relatively poor outing, they pulled out the win. And to me, that is the most impressive thing for the Jazz, because they just showed to not just to everybody else, but they showed to themselves that they can win without Donovan Mitchell having to go off for like 30, 40 points. And the way they did it was with their defense. They stepped up their defense. They played the type of defense that we all knew that they can play. The type of defense that they showed against the Thunder in round one. They stepped it up. I mean, just all around. Gobert was great in the paint. Guys were great on the wing. And then they also got a little bit of help. They got a little help from elsewhere. Like I said, Rudy Gobert, another double-double, 15 and 14. Derek Favors had a little bit of some, 10 points. Jay Crowder, Alec Burks coming up big. But the big game from the Aussie, Joe Ingles, 27 points. Just absolutely killed it. Knocking out all his threes almost, 7 and 9 from three. Just it was a great win. Like I said, great and impressive win for the Jazz, and it should be a wake up call for the Rockets. I was watching the game with my dad, and just the whole time we could not stand watching the Rockets play. And I know this is not breaking any ground here, but just goddamn, like the Rockets, man, it is so like. And I was explaining, my dad was just completely complaining the whole time and just could not stand it. With just how, all the shitty ticky-tack fouls they do, all the little bullshit that they do, to get easy shots or to get free throws and all this bullshit that they all do. And I'm like, I know the Rockets are good. We all know the Rockets are good, but it is so frustrating to watch them play sometimes because it's cool, I guess. I don't know the right words to say, but it's like it's kind of cool to know that they've, in a sense, figured out basketball. Like they've kind of figured out the formula to win. It's like, obviously it's just get fouled, go to the free throw line, or just shoot wide open threes. Like that's the formula to win. And no one does it better than them. They just, it's all free throws, all 3-pointers, and an occasional layup or dunk, But God, it is so draining to watch. I can't even imagine what it's like playing, or having to play against it. But it is just very, very frustrating and very, very draining to watch, especially on TV. And like I said, the Rockets, they got to get it going, man. Like I said, it's a wake up call for them, a big wake up call, especially since now they got to go into Utah, who, tough place to play. Obviously, they got the elevation is an issue. Same thing with the fans. So it's a tough place to win, tough place to play. And again, like I said, it's just a complete slobber knocker of a series. Definitely did not see this coming, or it being this knockdown, drag it out, slobber knocker of a series. So, but I am not complaining over here. Just didn't see it coming. I'm all for good basketball. The more basketball, the better. But just based on the way that things have gone in this series, and based on the way that the things are going on the other Western Conference series, it just looks like whoever has to face the Warriors is in for a long series. Not necessarily like 7 games long, but just like, damn, we're gonna get our asses kicked long kind of series. But yeah, that's the playoffs with the big orange ball. Moving on to the diamond with the little white ball. Quickly starting with the Angels, because Lord knows I got some stuff about the Dodgers. Quickly with the Angels, after a tough series against the Yankees, They bounced back and swept the Orioles, which was, they should have done. It's good. They should have done it. They straight up kicked their ass. They really, really kicked ass. From what the Angels put up double digits in 2 out of the 3 games against the Orioles, who are struggling. Like I said, struggling in their own right. And just quick side note, Manny Machado needs to get the hell out of there. You hate to see such a young, talented player waste his formative and potentially good years in a bad situation. I don't know where he would go. People are trying to say the Yankees. I don't think the Orioles would do that. I don't think they would trade him within the division unless they get back a lot of really good prospects or really good pieces or anything like that. Even then, that would still surprise me. But yeah, just like I said, I hate to see such a talented guy like Manny Machado get wasted in a bad situation like the Orioles are. But I'm talking about the Angels. Angels doing well, so kudos to them. But yeah, and they gotta, they're gonna go on the road for a little bit. Tough series against the interdivision with the Mariners, and then against the Rockies. But yeah, with the boys in blue. Officially, we are approaching season from hell territory now. As I'm sure most of you already know if you're a Dodger fan listening to this, we just lost Corey Seager for the entire year. He needs Tommy John surgery. So for those of you who aren't familiar with that, that's the elbow surgery that they have where if you sprain or you damage one of the ligaments in your elbow, they go in there and they operate on it and replace the damaged part of the ligament with the ligament from your wrist, and it makes it like just as strong and brand new. But the only downside to that is that it takes about a year to recover. So Corey Seager's done for the rest of the season. I remember them talking about he had like some like elbow discomfort in the playoffs last season. Remember, I think that's why he missed the championship series, and they had I forget they had what's his name fill in for him. But I think it was Culberson, and so apparently it was still nagging, and they found out something was wrong. So better to take care of it now than to let it get worse. It's tough, it sucks. We all know, especially considering because Corey Seager is one of our best day-to-day players that we have, and it also kind of explains why he was having a little bit of a slow start. But anyway, Seager's done for the rest of the season with Tommy John. Big blow. I mean, that probably means, like I said, we're going to get more games from Kike, which is good. But I like Kike in the role that he's in as far as like bring this guy in off the bench as a spark plug to get things going kind of guy. Not saying that's not a bad thing either. Just saying that he can't handle the day-to-day stuff. But, we're lucky enough that we have a bunch of guys that we can move all the way around. Taylor can play shortstop. Like I mentioned, Kike, they can switch things out. Taylor can play shortstop. Kike can play in the outfield. They got other guys that they can put in over there. You know what I mean? So they got a bunch of guys that can move around. And if they give other guys breaks, you can put Barnes over there. You can put Barnes at second. On a day that Logan Forsythe's out. Or a day when Grandy's pitching. Like I said, a lot of options, a lot of depth. It's great, so that's fine. But just when the bats were kind of starting to turn around a little bit, the pitching was starting to go down, and it doesn't help that we just lost Hyunjin Ryu until, according to Dave Roberts, until after the All-Star break. That's tough. He had a groin strain, I believe, not if I'm remembering correctly. It wasn't a sprain; it was a strain. But a tough loss to the Dodger lineup, especially there in the bullpen. We're losing a lefty arm, which is always tough. That's always not a good thing. But again, it's just more opportunity for guys to step up. You got Walker Buehler. He can step in here. I don't know what the timetable for the return on Julio Urias is. Hopefully he can get going soon. They can call him up. But we're gonna need more guys to step up. That's just the way it goes right now. It's kind of tough. It's kind of shitty. It really sucks. But like I said, it's just people are trying to compare. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer either. Trust me. People are trying to compare this to last season when the Dodgers just kept losing and they were off to a rough start. And it's just I get it, but at the same time, just from my perspective, you know, it shouldn't, you know, I just don't like having like World Series or Super Bowl hangovers or anything like that. I just don't like those because usually it doesn't go that. It just doesn't. Those usually don't bode well overall for the season. And it's like they were. Last year it was just more like little things that need to get kind of adjusted. It was like, hey, maybe like I said, it was mainly like the bullpen just kind of blowing games. That was kind of the one issue. Or some nights the bats just weren't going. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. But now it's like consistently like the pitching is not good. The bats are not good. And a little bit of the times it's like, oh, the bullpen blew it. But they're offsetting. It's like we're going through a period where the bats are good, but when the bats are good, the pitching's bad. And then vice versa, the pitching might be good, the scores are low, but it's just the bats aren't going. And it's just kind of consistently like that. And then on top of that, these injuries are not good. So it's like I said, it's I'm trying to be optimistic as much as I can, but it's definitely going to be tough. It's going to be a tough uphill climb. The Dodgers did it last year. I know that, so that's why I'm very optimistic with that. But it's going to be a lot tougher. Like I said, they still got guys that need to come back. Turner needs to come back still. I mentioned earlier, Udias needs to come back. It's tough, man. Like I said, I'm not in full panic mode yet. Kershaw not pitching well, that scares me like fucking crazy. That really fucking scares me right now. But yeah, Kershaw not pitching well is really scary so far. Hopefully he's not injured as well. Hopefully he can just figure out what's going on and like I said, just get all the bad baseball out now, and then hopefully they can just kind of after the All-Star break pick it up, get things rolling, get a little momentum going into the playoffs, and hopefully make a deep run again like last year. But I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic, but like I said, we're really, really close to the season from hell territory right now, and like I said, it's I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about it, but yeah, that's all the stuff that happened right now. Quickly gonna go through some stuff that happened, some other sports news that happened. Sticking with baseball, Ichiro Suzuki officially retired. Crazy, man, crazy. He was old. He's getting up there. He's like 45 right now. But yeah, he's just officially, I believe, effective immediately as of yesterday. He's going to be retiring from playing, and moving to some special assistant to the regional manager kind of front office position. But Ichiro, man, as someone who's part Japanese myself, seeing a guy come in here, take the league by storm, a Japanese player, take the league by storm, and live up to the hype. Because a lot of the times, a lot of players come from Japan, and they have a lot of hype surrounding them. And the game is a little different over in Japan than it is in America. And so, like with Hideki Matsui, he was good, not anything great. He was the whole thing where he was the home run champ or the home run king in Japan. But the fields are set up differently, a little smaller, so that's why he had more home runs and then didn't hit. Obviously, wasn't just crushing the balls like he was. But anyway, we've seen him, like I said, Hideki Matsui, Daisuke Matsuzaka, and guys like that, come over here and kind of, a little underwhelming with all the hype surrounding him. But Ichiro lived up to all those expectations. He was known as the hit king in Japan, came over to America and was the hit king in America. Killed it. First guy since Pete Rose to have 200 hits in a season. If you officially look on Baseball Reference, it has him only as 3,000 something hits, and he's way down on the list, at 15th all time, way down on the list, 15th all time in hits. But real ones know that you have to come if you combine his playing season, because he played in Japan for I believe 5 years or 6 years or something like that. Oh damn, I just looked it up, a little bit longer than that, maybe almost 10 years he played in Japan. But nonetheless, he amassed 1,200, 1,300 hits, something like that, something crazy. Before coming over to the most famously to the Seattle Mariners in 2001, and again just took America by storm, took the MLB by storm. Not just with his bat, but with his fielding. He's making great plays. great robbing home runs, throwing guys out like crazy style, like Puig style, Vladimir Guerrero style. Just a great all-around baseball player. And he ended up, like I said, real ones know. You add up all his total hits, he had more hits than Pete Rose. Some people, there's a lot of, you ask, depending on who you ask, they're going to say Pete Rose is the hit king. Ichiro's not the hit king. Because they're trying to say, like, oh, his Japan run doesn't count. The baseball records we have are for the MLB, not for the Japanese league, and blah, 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 blah. By the way, we all, real ones know, Ichiro's a modern-day hit king. We know that. He's just an incredible player. He, like I said, I'm going to go through his run right now, his awards. 10-time All-Star, MVP in the first year he came here. You know what I mean? Come on. AL MVP and Rookie of the Year. Come on, man. Look at that. 10 Gold Gloves, 3 Silver Sluggers, 2-time batting champion, which means that he led the American League in batting average. I think he still holds a record for batting average in like a Japanese season too, something like that. Like I said, yeah, I think he has a record for batting average. I can't find it right now. But yeah, 7-time AL hit leader too. You know what I mean? And stolen base leader 2001. So hit leader, like I said, he's gotten multiple times. He's hit 200 or more hits in a season. Never won a championship in America with the Mariners. Won a championship in Japan, but Ichiro, tipping the hat to you, my man, to a great career, and thank you for all the memories, and thank you for influencing a lot of younger Japanese kids to want to play baseball here in America. A lot of my friends growing up were Japanese, and they all wanted to just be like Ichiro. Everyone's done it at least once. Similarly to when we pitch. We all pitched like Nomo, where we did the big wind up and all that stuff. All the kids that were Japanese used to do the Ichido straight arm bat point and then pull the sleeve right before they start getting ready. And yeah, so shout out to Ichido, man. And speaking of retirements, not just in baseball, we've seen another retirement of another legend. This time on the gridiron. There's rumors about this going on for like the last week or so, but yeah, Jason Witten is officially retiring from football. The Dallas Cowboys tight end for quite some time now. I think 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. 15 years, he was there. Just one of the most just solid tight ends you could ask for. If you look up a tight end in the dictionary, what you would want from the prototypical, quote unquote prototypical tight end, Jason Witten's there. Just the perfect size, 6'6", about 250. Can block when you need to on runs, go out and make catches when you need to. The stereotypical safety blanket for quarterbacks, especially with Tony Romo. Yeah, man, just Jason Witten. It's just as for me, I don't know if I mentioned this before. I think I have, but if you know me personally, I mentioned it now. Tight ends have a special place in my heart. Pause. For football players, that's the position I played in high school, or was a position I wanted to play in high school. I didn't grow as much as I thought I would, so I didn't get to be featured as much as a tight end. But ever since I was playing football in high school, I always followed the tight ends. I wanted to be like Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez, Heath Miller, Jason Witten, guys like that. Just solid guys who could do it both, who could block and who could run block, pass block, play action runs and all that, play action plays and all that stuff. And just like I said, Jason Witten was just one of those guys every single year who was consistently good. It was you just knew he was going to be, you knew that no matter what, he was going to do well. And it was like once he started kind of tailing off a little bit towards the end, like in the last couple of seasons, that was when it was kind of like, what the fuck? Like Jason Witten only had like one catch this year. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, that's when it's like it never really was injured. Never really had any kind of, issues like health wise or anything like that. And, he, like I said, just a great guy, great player, great, like I said, not only great player on the field, but great off the field. I believe he won a Walter Payton Man of the Year award. I'm on his Wikipedia, and yes, according to Wikipedia, he is. 11-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro, and not to mention that all the different records he has. Where is he? He's 4th all-time in receptions, 2nd all-time for tight ends behind Tony Gonzalez. And, like I said, just a pro, a consummate pro, a pro's pro. And again, another tip of the cap to you too, Jason Witten. Thank you for all the good memories. Thank you for inspiring so many young football players to want to be like you. Again, not just on the field, but off the field. And good luck with your new gig over Monday Night Football. That's what he's going to be doing now. And let's see. Okay, quickly, another one. Kind of like a retirement. Not 100% the same. But for all you sports journalists out there and sports journalism fans out there, Peter King is leaving Sports Illustrated for NBC Sports. For those of you unfamiliar, Peter King is one of the great football writers. He wrote for Sports Illustrated, long time. Had a great column, the Monday Morning Quarterback, and he was a seminal part of Sports Illustrated's success, in the 80s and in the 90s, and he's officially leaving Sports Illustrated. I heard it was around, I don't know how long he was there for. I heard it was around 20, 30 years, 29 years he was at Sports Illustrated. He's leaving for NBC Sports. If you watch, Sunday Night Football and you watch the coverage of the games, he's that guy that comes on every now and then and kind of talks about some stuff. Again, Monday Morning Quarterback. He's going to be writing for them, but more of a TV role. He's getting up there in age, more of a TV role. It's crazy, it's crazy to see a lot of the guys you grew up, idolizing and reading and watching and stuff, moving on and doing different things or retiring and stuff like that, and getting at that age where, you're seeing a lot of the guys that you grew up watching, retiring. Like I said, I grew up watching a lot of Ichido. I grew up watching a lot of Jason Witten, so it's just crazy. It's really crazy. But like I said, Peter King's not completely done. He's great, and great influence on so many people. If you look on Twitter yesterday, you just saw all the people who Peter King influenced and helped out. Nothing but good things. Everything was said about Peter King. Nothing but good things. And like I said, best of luck for him in his new gig. Like I said, it's not completely over. It's just kind of sad, It's just kind of sad seeing that. Because like I said, he was there for almost 30 years, man. 30 years. People. It's like one of those things where people bought Sports Illustrated specifically so they could read Peter King on Mondays during football season. It's like that kind of thing. So yeah, shout out to Peter King. And speaking of new gigs, a lot of new gigs going around. A couple new coaches in the NBA. First, the Suns found their new head coach, Igor Koskov. Kokoskov. I don't know how you say his name. I'm sorry. I just butchered the shit out of that. Sorry. He was formerly with, I believe he's on the Jazz right now, or he was with the Jazz. He was one of their assistants. I'm going to be 100% honest. Don't know anything about him. Don't know, his history. Don't know his coaching style. Don't know anything like that. Other than he's European. That he's well respected amongst the league by both players, other coaches, and internationally he's well respected. But I do know that he's got his hands full with this team. He's definitely got his hands full with this Suns team. They got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And like I said, I just wish him the best of luck. I don't know. I wish him the best of luck. It's a tough time down there in Phoenix. Maybe. Apparently, what I've seen is I think he has like ties to Luka Doncic, the potential one of the top prospects coming out of Europe, the European Larry Bird, as a lot of people like to call him. So look for them if potentially if they win the lottery. He's hoping. I'm assuming they made him the coach in hopes that they win the lottery and they take Doncic first overall. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is going on with that. And speaking of lottery teams with a new coach, it looks like the New York Knickerbockers have finally found their new man in David Fizdale. David Fizdale, formerly of the Memphis Grizzlies, and more notably as one of the assistants on the Miami Heat teams when LeBron was there. David Fizdale is it looks like has agreed to become the new head coach of the New York Knicks. Again, not going to act like I know his X's and O's or anything like that, but another coach who's well respected around the league by both his peers as far as in coaching, other players, most notably LeBron. Really, really liked having David Fizdale on the coaching staff down in Miami. Again, just a good coach. Things didn't go the way they wanted to down in Memphis. They were like embracing full on. I think the idea was that in Memphis, the front office was embracing Team Tank. David Fizdale was not having that, and that's why they let him go. Because he is a good coach. I know it's kind of a red flag whenever a coach is fired, but he's a good coach. But the main theory as to why I think the Knicks went with Fizdale, they were talking to a bunch of guys, most notably people were saying it was Jeff Van Gundy or Mark Jackson or Mike Woodson, even though they already had him like 3 or 4 years ago. The main theory that I have as to why he agreed is because of Porzingis. And it's not like, and that sounds pretty obvious because Porzingis is so good and there's so much potential with Porzingis. But for those of you who aren't familiar, again, David Fizdale coached the Grizzlies, and he helped elevate Marc Gasol's game in the last couple seasons when everyone already thought that Marc Gasol was a good player. And by all means, he was. I'm not saying that they thought he was. He was a good player. But he saw so much more potential in Marc Gasol to be a better shooter, a better three-point shooter more specifically, and helped elevate Marc Gasol's game to crazier heights than anyone else saw. He also did the same kind of thing down in Miami with Chris Bosh. He helped turn Bosh, and he helped Bosh increase better his game, increase his range of shooting, doing a lot with him, just expanding his game overall. And I believe that both sides can see the potential in this idea, having Kristaps Porzingis, this center or this big guy who is built more similarly to the mold of Marc Gasol, who was a great, tall, sneakily strong guy who can shoot, who can post up, who can protect the rim, who has long range. And like I said, he just sees. I'm sure that the Knicks saw what David Fizdale did with Marc Gasol and figured, hey, if he can do that with Marc Gasol, what can he do with a guy like Kristaps Porzingis? And I'm sure that David Fizdale looked at Porzingis and said, hey, I did this with Gasol and with Bosh. I can let me get my hands on this guy Porzingis and see what I can do with him. So, that's what I think is, and because like I said, the rest of the roster is not that great. So because like I said, it's gonna take a little bit of time to help build this roster, but they have a great starting point with Porzingis, obviously, and I think that Fizdale is the right guy to help elevate Porzingis' game to the next level. He's locked in for 4 years, so that's going to be interesting to see. 4 years is a long time for a Knicks coach. I think Jeff Hornacek only lasted 2 years, maybe 2.5, something like that. It's been a revolving door of coaches there, and hopefully they found the right guy. I think they found the right guy. in Fizdale. And also, it's probably not gonna happen. Just being honest, but a lot of people are entertaining the idea that maybe he could court LeBron. Like I said before, LeBron is a big fan of David Fizdale as a coach. And so maybe, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, who knows what's going to happen with LeBron in the offseason. Not a lot of people know. So, like I said, it's fun to entertain the possibility that this might happen. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. That's it from the world of sports. Quickly, going to try to round out a lot of the other stuff that's been going on. All this that I found interesting. I finally saw Avengers Infinity War. It's great. Go see it. I'm not going to do any spoilers over here. Even though it's officially now the fastest movie to $1 billion. God dang, man. Disney, son of a bitch, Disney. Fastest movie to $1 billion. So I'm sure, even though I'm not going to do any spoilers, I'm sure you guys have already seen it. Because a lot of you have. It's a lot of money. But I'm not going to analyze it or break it down or anything like that either here. There's a lot more videos like that on the internet that you can go watch or read or do anything like that. And people who are a lot more qualified to do so than me. But I just got to say, it's a good movie. Like I said, go see it if you haven't already. It's really, really good. They did a great job of being able to balance all the storylines throughout the movie, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot, like I said, this is, I don't think I'll break any ground here or anything, but this is the first time that the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy come together, and we're introduced to a lot more other characters, like the main, villain Thanos and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and they do a great job of being able to balance all the storylines, so that way they clearly define what's going on. And not in a way where it's like, okay, I remember what this is happening, but wait, what was that? When was that? Like I said, do a good job of establishing everything and balancing all of it, so that way, when the big climax happens in the third act at the end, they're able to tie it all together. And it's a smooth transition, and then you're like I said, you clearly understand everyone's goals. You clearly understand what's happening. So that was to my opinion, that's the most impressive thing about the movie. The effects are great. The story's great. The stuff is great. And, Thanos, man, that's a bad dude. That's a bad dude right there. He is very evil. The storyline, from what I understand, like I said, I read comics when I was a kid. I'm not like a big comic book guy. Like I said, I was mainly a Spider-Man kind of dude. Excuse me, but, I'm not too familiar with the whole thing, but I like to do a lot of little research. I've read a lot of articles and watched videos and stuff just to kind of get an idea, so I have a better understanding of the storyline. All you comic book purists who have not seen it yet, which is kind of weird. If you're a comic book purist, I'm sure you would have seen it by now. But the storyline is a little different from the comics. So if you're maybe if you're seeing the movie, maybe inspired you to want to go read the comics or the graphic novels or whatever they want to call it. The storyline's a little different. They adapted the stories, like I said, a little differently, so that it's not completely the same. The ideas are generally the same. It's just it's not an exact word for word reprint or shot for shot reprint from the comics. But they do a good job, man, making Thanos a bad motherfucker. And like I said, you have to see the movie, but they somewhat make him kind of empathetic, kind of. That's what, Marvel over the years has gotten the bad rap for having the great superheroes but not having the best supervillains. But they definitely changed that in the last few movies. With Killmonger in Black Panther. And then now with Thanos in Infinity War and the future Avengers movies and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, they've done a really good job of creating, like I said, somewhat empathetic villains, or just villains that have a lot more layers to them, and it's not just they're not just like the whole like I'm a bad guy, so because I do bad things. It's more, they always say the best villains are the villains who don't think they're the villain. they feel like what they're doing is right. And, like I said, maybe it is. It's just, or their intentions are good, but they're just, the way they go about it is evil and stuff like, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much about what's going on with Thanos. So, just check it out. They just did as well of a job as they did, of making the storylines fit and making everything kind of an easy follow. They did a even just as good a job of leaving everybody wanting more, because damn, the way that movie ends, like I said, I don't want to spoil it. I'm sure most of you guys already know, but damn, all I'm going to say is the best comparison that I can hear is it's a modern version of The Empire Strikes Back from Star Wars, where it's just like, what the fuck, like, they're really gonna end it like this? So they leave you wanting more. The new Avengers movie comes out next year. I believe it's already taken care of. It's all done. Like I said, they shot these two movies side by side, or they shot it in. They shot the whole movie. It's essentially, they made it one long movie, but they had to split it up in two. So and like I said, listen. We all want to see it. We all kind of know what's going to happen because it's based on comic books that have been out for years. But like I said, they just did a great job of leaving everyone wanting more, to come back more to see it. So yeah, and also just quickly, if you're at all confused about the Marvel timeline, because there's like a shitload of stuff going on nowadays. Like I said, or you're just not a nerd. And nothing wrong with being a nerd, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're not a comic book nerd or anything like that, trust me, there's a ton of videos online you can watch. That's the way I got kind of up to date. Like I said, if you don't have time to go back and watch all the 2-hour Marvel movies, like I said, there's a lot of good videos online. There's a lot of good articles. I found this cool article. It's from Collider.com. So if you just Google like Marvel timeline, look for the article by Collider.com. Like I said, they lay out all the movies and then in chronological order, so that in a way that it would make sense, as well as kind of explaining the different pieces involved, like the Infinity Stones and the bad guys and the characters and stuff like that. And they explain the timeline. It's really good, really, really good. So like I said, I just recommend that. Check that out. Just quickly at the end, wrapping it up here. Kind of on a darker note, sorry guys, with this one, sticking with Hollywood, but so the Oscars Academy has officially removed and expelled Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski from the Academy. After the whole Harvey Weinstein stuff happened, it's been more than the Me Too movement, or even the Time's Up movement and all that stuff, which is great. They're finally starting to crack down on a lot of these, people who, they're finally starting to not let their art get in the way of the horrible piece of shit people that they are, or that they have been. So first they got rid of Harvey Weinstein, most notably. Now they got rid of Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski. After most notable, we all know the Bill Cosby verdict came down. He was guilty of 3 counts of, what it says here, aggravated indecent assault. So we all know what happened with Bill Cosby. Don't need to go into that detail here. But yeah, the Bill Cosby stuff it's more familiar with. Roman Polanski, maybe not so much. He is a director. Most notably, he directed. Listen, objectively, he directed some great movies. Some great movies. Some of people's all-time favorites, like Rosemary's Baby, Chinatown, the Pianist. He actually won an Oscar for The Pianist. But I believe it was in the 70s. He was charged with not just accused of, he was charged with statutory rape of a teenage girl. And once the verdict came down, he fled the United States to Europe, and he's been living in Europe ever since. And they will not expedite him, and he will not come back to America. So does that it's kind of, pretty self-explanatory as far as where he stands on this stuff, as far as how he feels about his own innocence. And like I said, he's, it's just a horrible person, but he did make some great movies. Similarly to Bill Cosby, he had arguably one of the most influential TV shows in the 1980s, The Cosby Show, and before that, a great stand-up comedian. But it's just they're about time that the times are changing, man. They're not overlooking, who they are. They're not separating the art from the artist anymore. They are separating the art from the artist, and they're cracking down. They're making changes. First with Harvey Weinstein for obvious reasons. Now Bill Cosby, Roman Polanski. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. I know there's more. Trust me, I know there's more. Who deserve so. So like I said, who knows who's next? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's what's going on now. And like I said, it's about time. So yeah, so good on the Oscars Academy for doing that. And finally, I just wanted to try to quickly just touch on the Kanye stuff. Everyone knows I'm a big Kanye fan. I know that. And it's just getting kind of crazy now. All this Kanye stuff, he, came out at the beginning of the week or the end of the, last time we talked, I mentioned how he was, he admitted that all the Make America Great Again and the Trump stuff was, just trying to point to prove, he was trying to prove a point about freedom of thought. And he's like, listen, like, I may be black and I may be from the hood and I may be this, I may be that, but don't tell me who I can and can't vote for, who I can say, okay, I get it. Okay. The ways about, like I said, all this Kanye stuff that's going on is it calls back to one of my favorite quotes of, it's not what you do, but how you do it. And a lot of this Kanye stuff, like I said, I get what he's trying to do. And by saying that, I don't mean that I agree with what he's doing. Like I said, I get what he's trying to do with all this, where he's trying to prove a point. He's trying to, make everybody say, hey, man, think for yourself. Don't let these people influence you on what to think, on how to think, or let these people do, don't let these people tell you what to do. Do what you, blah, blah, blah. I get what he's trying to do. But again, the ways he's going about it are very dangerous. They feel very, like I said, not so much thoughtful, not thoughtless, because he thinks that they're very thoughtful. You know what I mean? And he it's a very dangerous thing that what he's doing, promoting the type of people that he's promoting. And like I said, I get he's trying to prove a point, and I know that Kanye, throughout his career and throughout his life, he's always been a very controversial guy, very outspoken, and that's why we love Kanye. You know what I mean? Because he's not afraid to say the things that, other people are afraid to. He's not afraid to say the things that some people are thinking, but just may not have the courage to say. But the way he's going about it right now, and the people that he's empowering and and the people that he's using to make a point with this stuff is, like I said, it's the best way I can explain it is it's dangerous and it's sad. And he had that, and then, like I said, he had that interview with Charlemagne the God to try to clear a lot of the stuff up. It was my opinion, it was mixed. He was able to explain a lot of some of the stuff, and kind of, like I said, bring a little bit more, like I said, bring a little more explanation and stuff like that to some of the points he's trying to make. But he also brought a lot of confusion. You could hear it in Charlemagne's tone for a lot of the stuff that Kanye was saying, and he wasn't trying to like you could tell like Charlemagne wasn't trying to like do a typical Breakfast Club interview with Kanye about this stuff. He was just trying to hey man, like, what is this guy doing? And like he handpicked me, so I'm just gonna be like, all right, let me just try to gauge what's going on here. But I most, like I said, it was like a mixed bag of sure, he got his point across on some stuff, but it's also like, man, like I said, I get what he's trying to do, but he's trying to do it without like fully thinking this stuff through. And he's just, And it's like I said, yeah, he has an album coming out. We know that he has music coming out and stuff like that. And that's what makes people think it's like suspicious and all that stuff. But it's like, you know, I can't remember who said, someone on Twitter did it. I can't remember who I saw it on Twitter. So shout out to you, whoever did it. But it's like, people are going to buy Kanye's music regardless. Kanye's been outspoken his whole life, whether he's trying to promote an album or not. He's always had controversial takes, you know, whether he's putting out new music or not. And so it's like, the stuff that he's doing and going through right now, it's like I said, it's probably not because of the music. It might be, I don't know. But the stuff he's doing is just, it's like, man, can someone get this guy some help? Or like someone talk to him and shit. And, you know, it's kind of, like I said, hanging out with a lot of alt-right people for no reason. Or he's trying to, like, you know, like he'll talk to people and then he's like, you got to ask Candace Owens about that. Like, blah, blah, blah. She knows all the facts. She gives me the facts. And it's like, most of the time, those facts are not facts, you know? So it's just, it's weird. It's really weird. And it kind of all culminated at that TMZ incident, where he went on TMZ talking with Harvey Levin about how, ultimately the main stuff that he was getting to, the main talking point was how he said that slavery was a choice, and he was quoting fake Harriet Tubman quotes, and he was doing all this other stuff, and everyone's just like, what the fuck is going on here? And again, excuse me, I get what he's trying to say, you know, like I said, but at the same time, again, I don't agree with what he's saying at all. 100%, I do not agree with what he's saying. I get the point he's trying to make, because he's trying to say the whole thing where, it's like, you know, it's like 400 years of slavery. Like, at that point, it becomes, he pretty much said 400 years of slavery. It's kind of like, if it's gone on for that long, then it becomes a choice. But it's like, I get what he's trying to say, as far as like, listen, he's trying to say, like, you can choose to be in the condition that you're in, or you can choose to not be in the condition that you're in. And he's saying, why didn't people, like I said, he didn't fully articulate it the way I think he was trying to. And he was trying to say, like, listen, if they really didn't want to be a slave, they should have done something about it. And like I said, that's obviously a lot easier said than done. I'm pretty sure that's the point he's trying to get across. But it's just the way it's just very dangerous for him to say shit like that. And then he was saying, then the same thing back to the Harriet Tubman stuff. And it just sounds so weird, because Kanye is too, it's like Kanye's too smart to say dumbass shit like that, you know? Or we all thought that Kanye was too smart to really believe something like that. That's why people are so concerned. And, you know, he said that, and then he went on, and everyone's kind of like, what the hell are you talking about? And he ended up leaving the little one-on-one with Harvey Levin, and he goes to the main room where all the other people are, and he starts ranting. He's like, do you guys think I'm a free thinker? Do you guys think I'm thinking freely? And then, you know, it's kind of like, technically, yes, he is thinking freely, because you can, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't, there's no such thing as a thought. I get what he's trying to say, but Van Lathan, one of the content producers for TMZ, you know, the black guy that's on TMZ. Sorry to say so crudely, but that's the best way to explain it. He stood up and he's pretty much said no. You know, obviously he's like, no. He's like, yeah, you're thinking freely, but he's like, you're thinking what you're doing. He's essentially saying what you're doing is wrong. And what he's doing is, like, I'm kind of echoing it. What he said is, it's dangerous, it's hurtful, you know, it's sad to see. It's like, what is going on here? And the main thing he says is, it's not just hurtful for, you know, for what he's doing to other black people, but what he's like, listen, it hurts him as a fan of Kanye. Not just as, like, you know, just and it hurts him as a fellow African American. It hurts him, you know, just in so many levels. And that's the thing. That's the best way I can think a lot of people feel right now. especially me too, as a fan of Kanye's, and someone, when people always talk shit about Kanye, I always got his back. I'm telling him, listen, I just I go on the whole, Kanye thing, whatever, all the stuff all the talking points about Kanye that help back him up before all this. And it's like seeing this, it's like it is very hurtful to his fans, the people that support him, that not just, like I said, not just when people argue about him, but support him as far as financially, they buy his music. People who during tough times in their life, found solace in Kanye's music, found solace in Kanye's ideologies, found solace in anything that he did. But he brought a lot of, solace and joy, and he influenced and inspired a lot of people, and mainly people of color, mainly African Americans. And to hear him come out and say stuff like this, it's very, very hurtful, in a lot of ways. And then, and then Kanye comes back and he's like, oh, listen, man, it's all love. And he's like tweeting about, all love. And I want to, enjoy love now, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's not have world war. Let's have world love. And it just sounds awkward and stuff. And it's just very, very weird. And he's trying to do the whole thing where the biggest takeaway I got from it was he said he's trying, or from the Charlemagne interview, was he's trying to change the stigma from the term crazy. And that's like I said, these are some of the things that, like, the good points about it. Because yes, just because someone's different from you doesn't mean that they're crazy. And we get that. And I get what he's trying to say. And that is very true. From someone myself who's very different from a lot of people, in a lot of ways, who's been called weird most of my life. In a good way though. I get called weird in a good way. I'd be very, very ignorant, or it'd be very ignorant and very stupid of me to say that some people to think that everyone, when other people call other people weird, it's the same as when they call me weird. I know they all call people weird and crazy and stuff in negative ways. For the most part, like I said, I was lucky. I got called weird and crazy in good ways. And that's a good thing. But again, it's the ways he's going about it that concern not just me, but a lot of people. And initially, and then there's this theory going around that all these antics and everything that Kanye's doing is some form of a performance art, where he was inspired by Andy Kaufman, who, by all means, as someone who also is a fan of Andy Kaufman and liked his comedy, liked what he did and respected what he did. Initially, when I first heard this, I was like, this is just, people trying to justify Kanye's actions, again, because they're such big fans of his, and because it's like they just can't wrap their head around, maybe Kanye is a bigot in a weird way or whatever. I don't know what's like they don't know what's going on, so they're trying to rationalize it with something that will take a lot of the pressure off Kanye. So they're like, oh no, this is just performance art. And there's a lot of I want to say merit to it, but the evidence is out there and you can do with it what you want. I'm going to quickly run through it. There's Pigeons and Planes. Shout out to Pigeons and Planes. Pigeons and Planes has a great article on it. Go look for it. I'm going to try to put it in the link below. I'm going to tweet it out. So there's a great link, great story where they pieced it all together. And again, I'm not defending Kanye and what he's doing or what he's saying in that article or in the piece. That's the first thing the artist or the first thing the author prefaces with it. He just says, listen, I'm not, same thing. They're not defending Kanye. They're not making excuses for Kanye. It's just like, listen, let's just try to they're just laying these pieces out to try and get more context of what he's doing. And ultimately what it is Kanye is drawing a lot of inspiration from different artists. Andy Kaufman being one of them, a few other artists, where the general idea is that he's kind of playing a character right now in order to blur the lines of reality and art, or fiction and reality in this performance art thing, in order to just kind of, because at the end of the day, what Kanye's all about is art. He's taken these different approaches, and he said he's always been all about art, and he had this idea that music was art. People thought maybe not so much, or like maybe that hip hop and rap music wasn't art. So he just took his stuff and he said this is art, and he made it as art. Then same thing with fashion. He took on the fashion industry. Fashion, people said fashion. The biggest question is fashion art, and it's like, honestly, we can go down another rabbit hole, but art is subjective and art is art. It is what it is. Take with it what you want. But he feels that fashion is art, and he took on the fashion world. Now he's just been a proponent of art, and one of the theories is that one of the artists, I can't remember the name of the guy off top. His basic idea is that art is art, and it shouldn't be contained to the nice, glorious kind of museums and stuff like that. Art can be anything, and it can be anywhere. And so he's taking like that, a little piece of this ideology with other ideologies, and then, like I said, trying to play a character kind of like the way Andy Kaufman did. And if you're unfamiliar with Andy Kaufman, he was a comedian in the 70s and the 80s, mainly in the 70s, who would play these characters, but he would pick these characters not just on TV, but he would play these characters in real life, and sometimes it's himself, or he would just play it up like all the time. So it would blur the lines between, is this real or is this fake? And it's obviously it's all real, you know what I mean? It's all, but it's like, is he performing right now? Is he playing a character, or is this really how this person is? And so that's the general idea of it. Like I said, it's very deep and it's very complex, and there's a lot of layers to this situation. And then they also compare it to, David Bowie when he was the Thin White Duke. So like I said, there's a lot of stuff you can go read about that stuff. As I said, it's very complicated and it's very layered, but it's a good theory. It's entertaining. I like that much. It's interesting. And again, it is not in any way a way to excuse what he's doing or anything like that, but it's an interesting thing. And like I said, it opened my eyes to things. And it kind of, you could say it was kind of like a reinforcement thing, because I'm like, the whole time I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, Kanye is too smart for this kind of stuff, and it's like I said, and it's like he's too smart for this, and it's like there's no way that this can be the way he really feels. And so it's kind of like a reinforcement bias with me in a sense, kind of, but not to excuse what he's doing, but just because it's like, having been a fan of Kanye for so long, it's kind of like, damn, like I said, it's giving context of what he's doing. And again, it all calls back to the way that the thing that I said, where it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Like I said, I get ultimately that Kanye is trying to prove a point with all of this. I get that. I just wish that his methods, because we can't change what he's already done. He's already done what he's done. I just wish that his methods going forward could be a little less not damaging, not destructive or anything, because I mean, yes, I wish it would be a little less damaging, a little less destructive. I'm not saying it like that, but I mean, like, and not even less controversial, because a lot of the times you need controversy in order to create change, and I get that. I personally don't know the ways. I just wish that he can find a different way to go about it, So, like I said, go check out that Pigeons and Planes piece. Like I said, it helps give context, and then the author of the piece, I can't remember his name. It started out as a thread on Twitter that he's made. So, like I said, look for that original thread. I'm gonna, I believe I retweeted it already. If not, I'll go ahead and do that so you can check it out on my Twitter. Shameless plug in the middle of all this serious talk and stuff. But yeah, like I said, Kanye, man, just continuing to move the needle in controversial ways. But yeah, speaking of moving the needle, I've moved this needle way too long. I think that'll should about wrap it up for me today. So like always, thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking through it with me. It was a lot, I know. Like always, if you like what you heard, go ahead, subscribe, like, share, comment, all that goofy fucking YouTuber shit. Go ahead and do all that stuff for me, please. I appreciate it. As shitty as it is to plug all that stuff, I appreciate it when you guys do. Thank you. Subscribe to everywhere you listen to podcasts: iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, wherever else. I'm on random ones too. I've seen myself there. Trust me. I Google myself. Don't worry. Trust me. I do it. I'm not afraid to admit it. And like I said, if you like what you heard, and if you want to find the link to that Twitter thread, follow me on all the socials: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Follow me on the socials: Brown Mamba Radio, or my personal stuff: JXCKSXNNN. Follow along there. And like always, everything, all that stuff, everything I have is always on brownmamba.us. It's a website. Some would want to call it a blog. And if you call it a blog, shout out to the blog boys. If you want to call it a blog, go ahead. But it's a site. I use Squarespace. Shout out to Squarespace. Thank you, Squarespace. So yeah, that's going to be it for me this weekend. Forgot. It's New Music Friday. New Ray Shremmerd album, Shrem with a 3, because it's their third one that come out. New Shrem Life is out. Speaking of Kanye, his new Travis Scott's new song, his first single, Astro World, called Watch, is out. It features Kanye and Lil Uzi Vert. Go check that out. Royce da 5'9", The Book of Ryan, that shit is out. I haven't heard from Royce da 5'9" in a while. Kuko, holding it down for the South Bay. Shout out to Hawthorne. Shout out to South Bay. Shout out to Kuko. He's got a new little EP out. Check that out. And then where you get, look for some new music. Go out there, listen to it, and enjoy it. So, it's Friday. Enjoy your weekend, please. Have a safe, responsible weekend. And it's also Cinco de Mayo this weekend. So please, responsibly enjoy your Cinco de Drinko tomorrow. It's on a Saturday. I know everyone's about to get loco, about to get crazy, but please enjoy it responsibly. And again, just have a fun, safe, responsible weekend. And I'll see you guys at the Guess Jeans Farmers Market event here in LA. I think I'm going Sunday. So I'll see you guys there. Like always, drink more water. Health is wealth. Please be kind to each other. It's easy to be nice. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.